Okay, so we're going to be looking at a very, very important topic that affects our health so much. And it's about a product. I want to use the word product, a product called homocysteine, you know. And part of what we're going to look at is we're going to look at the history of how this um, products, I keep calling it products, and I'm going to tell you why I call it products, why the history of how it came to be known in the medical circle, and how come people are not talking about it, and the role it plays in our health. You know, we are all aware that this human body, God is the creator of this human body. He is the manufacturer. There's no controversy about that. Forget all that they've told us about evolution during our biology days. But we know without any atom of controversy that the Lord God Almighty is the creator of this human body. He made us in his likeness. He made us in his image. Now, there's a place I want to start today in 3 John 1:3. It says, "Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers." And when each time I look at this verse of this Bible, I keep asking myself, why would God, some other translation says, "I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health." Why would God be wishing? It's a wish. He's wishing that, oh, I wish you prosper and in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers. Of course, a lot of us, we understand this prosperity of the soul, our salvation, and all that concerns that. But in the same way that we talk about the salvation of our soul, God is also very interested in our prosperity, not just financial prosperity, but prosperity in our health. And that is why I kept wondering, why does he wish for us to be in health? He has to wish, because the reality is that God is not going to force force anybody to do what they're supposed to do. He has given us everything that pertains to life and godliness. He has given us dominion. He has given us the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding to do the right things, to know what to do. In Genesis 1:29, he gave us the things to eat so that this body will perform at the optimal level that God expected it to do. Now, there are so many reasons why we need to be in health. Good health glorifies God. A lot of people, when they are sick, they say, oh, maybe God is using this sickness to teach me a lesson. God is not using sickness to teach you a lesson. Even if he's using it to teach you a lesson, the question is, at the end of the day, let all glory be to God. So in good health, it brings glory to God. When you one says, therefore, whether you eat or you drink or whatever you do all to the glory of God. You need to ask yourself, the kind of food I'm eating, does it bring glory to God? The kind of lifestyle I'm living, does it bring glory to God? Our primary purpose in life is to bring glory to God. It's important that we understand that. Being healthy is also being a good witness. Acts 1:8 tells us we're supposed to be his witnesses here on earth. So when you are sick, there's a level of sickness you have. How do you minister to other people? How do you go about your evangelism? How do you tell people I am made in God's image? So what I'm trying to do is give us reasons why we must, as much as possible, be in good health. A lot depends on us. Yeah, somebody told me the other day, what of the juju, all the arrows? We'll come to that. Because you also see how the fact that when you break the hedge, the serpent strikes. So you need to learn how not to break the hedge. I'm also going to, maybe if time permits, we'll look at some ways that we intentionally or unknowingly break the hedge that God has, hedge of protection, and he has made around our health. So it's important that we understand all that. And of course, when you are healthy, you have more energy to do God's work. You have more energy to do so much that God has called you to do. The more energy you have, the more you're able to do more. You know, I don't know whether you have woken up sometimes and you realize that, oh, I don't have energy to do this, I don't have energy to do that. Yes, you need the energy to work. You need the energy to pursue your assignment. You need that energy to do all that God has called you to do. So these are some of the reasons why we need to be healthy. Okay. Now, back to what I was saying about being in good health. Genesis 6:3 tells us, and the Lord said, my spirit shall not abide in man forever, for that he also is flesh. Therefore shall his days be 120 years. So basically, what God has given to us is 120 years. And we remember in the book of Deuteronomy 34:7, Moses, the Bible tells us, died at 120 years. His eyes did not grow dim, and his natural strength did not abate. So what that means is that it doesn't matter, I mean, like how old you are, because you see, what do you see these days? You see some people at 40, at 50, they're already feeling like the whole world is coming to an end. When you see some people and they tell you how old they are, you're like, oh my goodness. You know, especially those of us in ministry, maybe at 40 or 30 something, you started a ministry and it's thriving, doing so well. And next thing you hear, papa, 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 at 30 something, mama, 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 at 40 something, what for? You know, and some people now step into that mama, this the mama mentality, papai mentality, and next thing, they are not doing all the exercises they're supposed to be doing. They are sitting down a lot, people running all over the whole place, doing one thing or the other for them. And by the time you know it, some health challenges begin to come in, and they say, it's old age. I've had people come to me, and when you say, how old is your mom or how old is this person, say 50 something, I'm like, I don't understand. Because one actually came and said, oh, that she's sure that part of the problem she's having is old age, is age related. And I'm like, okay, how old are you? She said 52. And I'm like, I don't understand. Well, who is selling this lie? You know? So Moses lived to be 120 years. I remember he started his ministry per se at 80. So the choice is actually ours. How we want to live. You can live 120 years, but that's very, very sick. Or you can live 120 years healthy. When you die like the saints. Like if you read the Bible, say when it's time, they bless their family, they fold their hands, and they go back to their maker. So if your body is your home, you can now think of your cells, because that's part of what we're going to be discussing today. Cellular nutrition, you can think of your cells. We are made up of cells as the foundation. And you understand that no matter how beautiful a house appears on the outside, it is bound to have cracks and breakdowns if the foundation becomes weakened. The same thing happens to the body. And the cell, our cells, they are the foundation of our body. Eventually, if things get bad enough, that building can completely fall apart. Now, that is the same thing that happens to our body. But with proper maintenance or reinforcement, which is what we are talking about today, we are looking at ways to maintain this body, this house that God has given us. Remember, we are God's house. The Spirit of God, our body is the temple of the Spirit. The Spirit of God lives in us. So we are looking at how do we maintain this house so that it doesn't collapse. Because the reality is that if this house is not maintained and the foundation and the house begins to shake, the house will collapse and the spirit will go back to its maker. So your cellular foundation can remain strong and help your body stay resilient even as you age. Aging is not a problem. Aging is not sickness. It is important that we understand that. Forget what conventional wisdom we are being told. Oh, at certain ages, there are certain things they expect you to have. No. If you buy into that lie, you're going to end up spending the rest of your life drinking all manner of prescription drugs. Now, it is estimated that by itself, this products, I keep calling it products, and I'm going to tell you why later, this homocysteine level in the body is responsible for approximately 15% of all the heart attacks and strokes in the world. So I strongly believe that there is a reason why God is revealing this to us at this time. Especially when you now understand that in the midst of all the controversies surrounding this homocysteine, just by supplementing with some vitamins and changing your diet, you can correct this in the comfort of your home without traveling too much. So we want to thank God for giving us access to this information. Raphael, I don't know what you're showing on the screen. So let's look at the history of this homocysteine. It's actually a lesson in perseverance, because a lot of times some of us will give up too quickly. The man who discovered this homocysteine, his name is Dr. Macaulay. I want to share a little bit about his story, because it's also going to encourage us and open our eyes to see the war, the battle in the medical and pharmaceutical industry. Because sometimes you may have some health issues and your doctor, in all his goodness, in all his honesty, will want to convince you to take certain steps. And you think, okay, like he's trying to help you. But when you are informed and understand that, yes, he may be speaking in your own interest, but that thing that's supposed to be your own interest may not help you at the end of the day. So that's why you need to be informed. Dr. Klima was shown when he first started this, when he proposed this homocysteine theory of heart disease. He was shunned and he was seen as an enemy by the medical world. In 1968, he sat down at a meeting that changed his life. He was a pathologist with Harvard Medical School. And he went for a program, a conference. And at that conference, it was about a little boy who had a genetic disease called homocysteinuria. That boy had died in that same hospital where Dr. Macaulay was working. And this boy, 8 years old, died of a stroke. And for an 8-year-old boy to die of a stroke, that's a very strange thing. So while some people felt it was, well, maybe one of those things, this man, Dr. Macaulay, felt no that something was not right. So he started investigating into the matter, how an 8-year-old boy could die from a stroke. Then how many years later, his cousin also died from that same stroke. So when he began to investigate, he made a lot of discoveries. And because of the discoveries he made, he was ostracized. And what did he discover? He discovered that cholesterol and clogged arteries are not the causes of heart disease. Rather, they are the symptoms of heart disease. But this is what we have been told. This is what we have been told. They say, oh, your high cholesterol is this, your high cholesterol is that. That study showed that cholesterol and clogged arteries are not the causes of heart disease, but rather symptoms. Now, the theory that links homocysteine, which is an amino acid that accumulates in the blood, and heart disease, this theory was not embraced by the medical community. He was ostracized for even daring to believe that anything other than cholesterol was causing heart disease. And what did they do to him? First of all, his lab was moved into the basement at Massachusetts General Hospital, where he had no contact with other people. They made the situation so unpleasant that he had to abandon this research. He left in January 1979, tried to do other things. But of course, if you understand how this system can suffocate somebody, you understand what this guy went through. All the things he was promised, all the grants, all the resources he was promised, they told him no way. In fact, they later told him that Harvard or the General Hospital, does not want to have anything to do with that theory because it appeared to contradict conventional wisdom that cholesterol and fats were the causes of heart disease. Of course, a lot of people thought he didn't know what he was saying, but he knew because, of course, he had studied cholesterol metabolism. But, of course, the establishment reacted against him. His suggestion was that the cause of arteriosclerosis in the general population was an underlying deficiency of certain vitamins, but nobody wanted to hear this. All they wanted was to continue with that mindset that everything about heart disease, stroke, and all the rest of them, that it was due to cholesterol. So his theory was simply too much for the establishment to take. And these are the same group of people pushing genetically modified foods into our food system. They are the same people blocking everything that has to do with, if you tell them, oh, diabetes is curable, or you say high blood pressure is curable, don't even go near cancer. Conventional wisdom says these chronic diseases, these lifestyle diseases, they are not curable. And if you come up with anything to the contrary, they come after you. But you see, God has given us the opportunity to choose, the privilege to choose. It's your choice. You can believe that those things, those illnesses, lifestyle diseases are not curable. The choice is yours. You can believe that they are curable, because apart from the things you need to do, Jeremiah 33:6 tells us, I will bring healing and I will bring a cure to it. So you can choose who you want to believe. You can choose to believe God, or you can choose to believe conventional wisdom that tells you that these diseases are not curable. Now, what is homocysteine? Homocysteine is an amino acid produced when proteins are broken down. It is an amino acid that is normally produced in the body, but in small amounts from the amino acid methionine. So the body actually produces this homocysteine. Now, the role of homocysteine in the body is to control growth and support bone and tissue formation. So the problem is not the availability of the homocysteine in the body. The body actually produces it because it uses it for different functions. There are certain different levels of homocysteine in the body. This homocysteine is also involved in normal human growth processes. It also stimulates formation of insulin-like growth factors and acts like growth hormone. So a lot of times when people are diabetic, part of what we need to look at is their homocysteine level. But I can tell you that a lot of, when you go to hospital, if you're a diabetic patient, for instance, the doctor, his mind will not even go to homocysteine because it is not a popular theory. But you see, if you want to deal with health issues, these chronic diseases, you must focus on looking at the root causes. These are parts of the root causes of some of these diseases. But unfortunately, conventional wisdom are not interested. They are not interested in looking at the root causes. So any nutrient in the body that is involved in formation of insulin-like growth factors, once the person is diabetic, check the person's homocysteine level. If it is very high, work towards bringing it down. And we're going to see some of the ways this can be controlled. So it does, because the body produces it. Now, whenever homocysteine levels becomes elevated in the blood, what is that telling you? That there is a deficiency of the B vitamins. You can see as simple as it is. But without information, without knowledge, people may not know this. Because when you hear homocysteine, you think you're talking about something that is from the nuclear space. No, it is something that the body produces. Now, normal aging, as one ages, homocysteine levels tend to rise. You can also bring it under control. This is part of why some people say they are aging faster. Their homocysteine levels are increasing without their knowing, okay? So, female hormones also, women have a lower level of homocysteine than men until menopause. After menopause, a woman's homocysteine levels begin to approach, it begins to increase. It's important that you understand that so that you also know how to pay attention to certain things you're taking. Thyroid hormone controls the level of homocysteine in the blood as well. Then the kidneys are also crucial. High levels of homocysteine in the blood are characteristic of kidney failure and lead to a high incidence of vascular disease. There's also the role of genetics here. Then toxic factors such as cigarette smoking, especially third-party inhalation of smoke, increases the homocysteine levels in your body. Then, of course, a number of different drugs, chemotherapeutic drug, anybody that has taken chemotherapy, go and check your homocysteine level. I can assure you upfront that it is very, very high. So these are things, and of course, when it is very, very high, it encourages the growth of cancer cells. So these are some of the reasons some people are treating cancer, they're not getting results, because there are certain key factors that nobody is paying attention to. So elevated levels of homocysteine are more pronounced when your diet is very, very high in meat. So meat lovers, please make an effort to check your homocysteine levels regularly. High homocysteine levels in the blood can damage the lining of the arteries. It may also make the blood to clot more easily than it should. This can increase the risk of blood vessel blockages. Of course, we know that a clot inside your blood vessel is called a thrombus. Now, this thrombus can travel in the bloodstream. From there, it can get stuck in the lungs, which is pulmonary embolism. It can get stuck in the brain, which can cause a stroke. It can get stuck in the heart, which can cause a heart attack. So that's where you see what the consequences of elevated homocysteine. And of course, most times when these things happen, nobody will look at that, because if someone has a stroke, for instance, first of all, bring down the homocysteine level, because this, we're looking at root causes. And there are nutrients, there are antioxidants that you need that can do this. That's why a lot of people will have stroke and or high blood pressure or diabetics. A whole lot of treatment they are being given seems as if it's not working, that it's only managing the situation. It's because the main cause, the root causes, have not been addressed. So symptoms of these deficiencies include, for instance, when you're deficient in vitamin B12. And now B12, there are different types of B12, 3 main types. Let me look at the 2 main types, the cobalamin and methylcobalamin. When you're buying B12, please ask for methylcobalamin, methyl, because the other one, the cyanocobalamin, the cyanocobalamin, yes, there are 2 types, cyanocobalamin and methylcobalamin. Cyanocobalamin, the body does not absorb it quickly. So your best option when you're buying vitamin B12 is methylcobalamin. Please make efforts to read the labels of the supplements that you buy. There are so many things out there pretending to be supplements. You need to be intentional, study the labels. That's why we're giving out this information, because the reality is that there's no way I'm going to talk to everybody one-on-one. But when you get this information, please take it to heart, study the labels as you're buying these supplements. Some of the symptoms of B12 deficiency include pale skin, weakness, fatigue, tingling sensations like pins and needles in the hands, arms, legs, or feet. Some of these are some of the symptoms people have when they are becoming diabetic. So you can begin to see the connection now. Dizziness, mouth sores, mood changes. Then, of course, for folate, some of the deficiencies are also similar to those of B12. Fatigue, mouth sores, tongue swelling, growth problems. Then, of course, a combination of these symptoms, you have personality changes, shortness of breath or dizziness, irregular heartbeat, numbness or tingling in hands and feet, mental confusion or forgetfulness. Then, of course, in some cases, weight loss. So when you go to measure your homocysteine level, and you need to actually explain to them what you're talking about, because I sent somebody to go measure her homocysteine level. The lab people called me and said, what are you talking about? So you need to be intentional and explain to them what you're talking about, okay? So the homocysteine blood test measures the amount of homocysteine in your body. Typically, this test is used to diagnose a vitamin B6, B9, B12, or folate deficiency. Now, a lack of these important vitamins increases homocysteine, and it can put you at a higher risk of cardiovascular disease. So what am I trying to say here? There is no such thing as sudden heart attack, sudden stroke, sudden this, sudden that. No. The body speaks, and it is important we understand how the body speaks. Some of these symptoms I've mentioned. Some people, when their skin is looking pale, they say it's the Nigerian factor, that the sun is Nigeria. It is not. It is not the Nigerian factor. Don't ignore those things. Tingling sensations like pins and needles in your arms, hands, legs, feet. If it's very frequent, those are symptoms of deficiencies. Now, this homocysteine test measures your blood levels of this naturally occurring amino acid. It's actually an amino acid that serves in the body as an intermediary in the metabolism of methionine and cysteine. Now, the amino acid is typically broken down in the blood into other substances your body needs. However, elevated levels usually indicate a deficiency of these vitamins I have mentioned, because these are the vitamins that help the body process homocysteine. So when they are deficient in the body, the homocysteine level increases, and that increase leads to all the diseases we have mentioned, including cancer. So these are something that you must pay attention to. Now, everything related to our health begins at the foundation of the body, begins at the foundation of the cells. Cells, like we all know, are the building blocks of our body. They perform every basic function of life, including creating energy, eliminating toxins, providing structure to the body, and keeping the body healthy. We are all aware that we have trillions of cells, trillions in the human body, and each of these cells plays its own part in performing the essential functions to keep us in good health, from reducing stress to supporting our metabolism and making sure we get the nutrients we need from foods or supplements. Now, cellular nutrition can be described as the process of making sure our body's cells receive the nutrients they need so they can perform all of their major functions to help you achieve optimal health. Please pay attention to that word, optimal health at the cellular level. Optimally functioning cells directly translates to a healthier, more efficient, and better feeling you in every way. So our goal in pushing for cellular nutrition, that's nutrition at the cellular level, is to ensure you have all optimal health at the cellular level, because that is where the foundation of everything we're talking about is. If your cells are healthy, you are healthy. Because there are some people, they can be looking healthy superficially, but deep down, inside, things that happen inside them, okay? Now, I need to also put a word of caution here. Supplements should be used with care and caution, because the best source of these essential nutrients is from whole foods. It's important. However, in a normal situation, when you eat right, you should actually get a lot of these nutrients from your foods. But due to corruption in the food sector, you can't. So when one eats a whole vegetable or fruit or grain, for example, one is eating thousands of compounds, some of which we don't even understand yet. When you consume a supplement, you are consuming a single compound or very few compounds that, though they may be helpful, do not have the broad range of benefit of the whole food. That's why you see people know that sometimes we have to prescribe a combination of supplements to at least achieve something close to a whole food. However, there is simply no way to achieve these optimal levels of nutrients through the food we eat as at today, because of corruption in the food sector, the way the food is grown, laden with chemicals and fertilizers and all that. So you can't achieve the optimal level of nutrients that you need through our foods. Therefore, to decrease your risk of developing any chronic degenerative disease, you must supplement your diet. Now, a lot of times when you talk about supplementing your diet, somebody told me, oh, I'm taking multivitamin, this multivitamin, they mention all manner of names. I can tell you something up front. Taking a daily multivitamin, maybe 2, 3, 4, cannot protect you from degenerative diseases either, because a lot of them, the dosages you see on the body are based on their RDAs. Now, it is rare to see any reference in medical literature to a health benefit in patients who are simply taking a multivitamin. No, you must take significant amounts of high quality antioxidants and minerals if you have any desire to prevent or slow down chronic diseases. Optimal levels are those levels that have been shown to provide a health benefit in the medical literature. These are not the required daily, the RDAs, the required daily amounts that is needed. No, because when these nutrients are combined and taken together in supplementation at the optimal levels, results are amazing. When you take them at the RDA levels, It's just like, let me tell you one, for instance, if you check vitamin C, the one that is sold everywhere, you can see what the prescription is, take 100 milligrams. That's one tablet or whatever per day. That one tablet, it's like carrying, what did they call them? Carrying teaspoon of salt. Then you go to Babbage, you go and pour that teaspoon of salt inside that at Babbage. It does not make any sense to the body. But for regulatory purposes, that is how it is written. So when you follow that, you go drink that vitamin C tire, you will not see anything. But cellular nutrition is simply providing all nutrients to the cell at optimal levels. Nobody produces a supplement and writes the optimal amount on that body because they will come after them. So these are information that you get outside the manufacturers, whatever, because they have to follow the regulatory. But research shows that providing all nutrients to the cells at optimal levels is what gives you results. This allows the cells to decide what it really does and does not need. So once you provide it, once you provide the body all of the important nutrients it needs, the cells will do their work. So this approach, we have found out, corrects nutritional deficiencies over a period of certain months. There are no quick fixes. Okay. Now, I also mentioned that cellular nutrition targets the health of your cells so that it can function optimally. Okay. Your cells are the reason you can think, they're the reason you can move, they're the reason you can function. So if everything in your cell is not functioning the way it should, then that means they are lacking in so many nutrients. Now, some people will say, oh, can't I get it from some of the foods we eat? No. Like I said, apart from corruption in the food sector, if, for instance, you want to get at least 500, 450 IU of vitamin E, remember I had talked about the vitamin E, that most of this vitamin E you see that is being sold, the body cannot absorb it the way it should. The best form of vitamin E is powder in capsule, or the vitamin E loose powder. Now, if, for instance, you want to get just 450 IU micro units of vitamin E in one day, that means you need to eat like 33 heads of spinach, 27 pounds of butter, 80 medium avocados, 80 mangoes, about 2 pounds of sunflower seeds, 23 cups of wheat germ, and so on and so forth. Who in their right mind will sit down and pack all this inside the stomach? So that's why the supplementation is necessary. Because somebody says, okay, I want to get vitamin C from all the foods I eat. For you to get 1,300 milligrams of vitamin C, for example, you need at least 16 medium oranges, 160 medium apples, including the skin, about 10 cups of fresh orange juice, 16 cups of raw chopped broccoli. Where you get time to do that one. So that's why you need to supplement, okay? A lot of there are also some other supplements that you need, which I have mentioned severally. CoQ10, 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 CoQ10. Make this your go-to supplement. I don't manufacture these supplements. I am not their distributor. It is knowledge I am giving. Make this CoQ10 an in-house, make it your friend in-house. Because part of what it does, if the heart muscle is weak for whatever reasons, it places an increased demand of the nutrients the heart cell needs in order to create energy. Okay? So, because of excessive utilization of these nutrients, the heart muscle eventually becomes depleted of CoQ10, which is the most important nutrient needed to create energy. So you need to find ways of replenishing. When patients take CoQ10, the weakened heart muscle is able to replenish its store of CoQ10 generate more energy, and compensate for its weakened state. So those who are hypertensive, those who are having heart attack, heart issues, those with stroke, cancer patients, and a whole lot of patients, you cannot do without this nutrient called CoQ10, in addition to some of the ones I had shared earlier on. So what are we saying today? Taking supplements to accommodate this functioning is best described as what complementary medicine is about. Because sometimes when you share some of these things, people think you are attacking clinical medicine. No, we are not. What we're saying is that we're pushing for integrative medicine, so that where, for instance, somebody comes up with an emergency, you use clinical medicine to address that emergency. Then you now put the person on the path to recovery. And we have found out that those prescription medication will not lead the person to the path of recovery. It will only manage that sickness and create more health problems until the body can no longer take any medication. So you need to take your health destiny in your hands. Do not depend on people who are looking at profits, who are more profit-oriented. All they're interested in is if there's a patent on this product, how much is going to yield. Because the reality is that some of the products or nutrients that your body needs to heal, they cannot patent them. Even when they do, it will not give them the money they want. So they will not recommend it for you. So that's why you need to take your health, be intentional, do your research, and make sure that you're giving your body all that it needs to remain healthy, especially at the level of cellular nutrition. Now we go to the lump of figs for the week. This is a lifesaver. Capsicum frutescens or cayenne. There are different types of, this pepper is everywhere. So this one, you don't even need to go to Jerusalem to go and look for it. This pepper, dry pepper, that particular one, I'm showing you there in the picture. There are different types, but this particular one, you can use it to make a tincture. For those who don't believe in alcohol, I'm not saying drink alcohol, but the reality is this. Some of the nutrients you need to get out from some plants. You can't get it out using water. You can't get it out using oil. The only thing that can extract it is alcohol. So when you want to prepare this tincture, we're going to post it on the platform for those who are interested. Because the reality is that if you want the already made one, that small bottle is 90,000 naira. So don't send me to make for you. That's why I'm posting it free. Learn how to make it. What does this thing do? Anybody with stroke, if you run into somewhere and somebody is having a heart attack, you put a drop of this tincture under the tongue, sublingual. It will shock you how you can revive that person until proper first aid comes. So that's why I call it a lifesaver. There are certain things that should not happen if you have information. If you have a bottle of this tincture, a small bottle with a dropper, put it in your bag. You don't know where you will encounter an emergency. And if they allow you, just little drop under the tongue will keep that person alive until emergency, until proper medical attention is given. So this cayenne pepper contains, capsaicin, which can open up the sinuses. It can fight inflammation, cardiovascular support. It helps with ulcers. Most people do not know that one of the best treatments of ulcer is this pepper. Meanwhile, conventional wisdom tells you when you have ulcer, do not eat pepper. So you can see it boosts your immune system and your metabolism. Cayenne pepper's bright red color signals its high content of beta-carotene or provitamin A. Just 2 spoons of this pepper daily provide 47% of the daily value for vitamin A. It is also called the anti-infection vitamin. Vitamin A is essential for healthy epithelial tissues, including the mucous membranes that line the nasal passages, the lungs, intestinal tract, and urinary tract, and serve as the body's first line of defense against invading pathogens. Then for those who are married, it increases sexual stamina in men and women. Ordinary pepper. It also boosts libido in men and women. It raises testosterone levels in males, and it strengthens erections in males. Now, for the cayenne tincture, it's better to use either vodka or whiskey or any of those hot drinks, at least 35 to 40%. Okay, like I said, I'm going to post the procedure. You just buy the pepper, don't buy, like you're using it at home. Buy the pepper, grind it, wash it first and dry it, then you grind. But I'll put the quantities when I'm writing it out to post on the platform so that you can see it, but you need to leave it for at least 2 months or thereabouts, Then you bring out the tincture, pour into a small bottle, keep it inside your bag. Don't wait for an emergency. Be using it yourself. Yes, when you put it under your tongue, you feel as if you want to hit your head on the roof. And it's only a drop. So it's medication. So it's not as if you're going out drinking alcohol. No, you don't even take a teaspoon, just a drop or two under your tongue. Even your body will tell you that something good is happening in this body. So that's basically what we have for today. And I don't know if you have any questions, if you have any comments, and let me take it before we close for today. God bless you. Okay, somebody said I didn't get the mixture you talked about. I was talking about cayenne tincture, that it is made, that's our lump of fix for the week. That you need to prepare it, buy the pepper. This pepper is sold everywhere in the market. So if you buy like a cup of this pepper, you wash it and dry it. After drying it, you grind it with your normal dry grinder, okay? Then pour it into a glass bottle. Please do not use plastic. When you pour it into a glass bottle, a glass container like a mayonnaise container, for instance, then you now pour your alcohol to cover to cover it very well, cover it, then cover the bottle and put inside a cool, dark place, maybe inside a cupboard or whatever. Label it, the date and all that. 40% or 35%. If you see that, if you go to buy the vodka or whiskey or whatever, you see it on the body, 35% alcohol or 40% or whatever. Whichever one is still okay. You pour it and you cover it and keep inside the cupboard. You need to leave it. That thing can stay there for remain potent for 2 years, 3 years. Put inside a small bottle. You know these bottles, they sell it in the market. These bottles with droppers. Pour it inside, label it. Put one inside your bag. Keep one in the house where it can be handy. People in the house can use it. Like I said, just a drop under the tongue daily. This particular thing, it has helped people with all the growth inside the stomach. Those with blocked fallopian tube, blocked this one, blocked that one. That's a lecture for another day. But please get this thing. It is a lifesaver. The whatever I talked about, no, why I'm trying to teach you so that people can make it. The one we have, that small bottle is 90,000. That's what I'm saying. I'm giving this free of, please prepare it, okay? But if you want us to give you the already made one, sure, we can send to you, because that thing takes about 4 to 5 months soaking in that thing for all the nutrients to be extracted. Okay, the supplement I talked about, I said CoQ10. CoQ10, okay? There are different brands. Okay, so check it out very well. It's there. So the alcohol, you can use vodka or whiskey, whiskey. So these are things that, because like I explained, a lot of the, I mean, those of you who read sciences, you've done extraction of certain nutrients from plants in the lab where you use ethanol and all the rest of them. Some of those things, if you use water, you will not get all the nutrients you want. There are some that you will extract, there are some you can't extract. If you use oil, there are some you will extract, there are some you may not be able to extract, depending on what you're looking for. So that's why most times tinctures are very, very powerful. You can do garlic tincture, you can do turmeric tincture, you can do all these plants you see outside growing in you can just convert them into a tincture, put them in small, small bottles and keep in your house. They are loaded with nutrients. They are loaded with vitamins. And remember what we're talking about? We're saying nutrition at the cellular level. So while the reality is this, you may not be able to purchase all the supplements that you need. So even if it's just one or two, because like this afternoon, I stepped out into a shop, I'm out of the country, to go buy supplements for somebody. I saw one of them, $48, please convert it to Naira. Another one, $60, convert to Naira. Another one, 90-something dollars, convert to Naira. So how many people can afford this? So the reality is that if you're able to buy, even if it's one, then look for the things around you. Look for the things around you. Prepare the ones that you can and feed your cells. We're talking of cellular nutrition. Cellular nutrition. God has given us these things. There are a lot of them are lying around all over our environment. We ignore them, we kick them out, and we use them as weed. Please, like we always say, you're not going to tell you don't tell Nigerian police, oh, I didn't know that this place is one way. That's why I took that place. The same way, ignorance of the law is not an excuse to break the law. So it's important that we are intentional about our health. Get these things, prepare it, keep it in your house. The vitamins as much as possible, the B12, the B6, the B9, these are things that will control a whole lot of things that could go wrong in the body that people do not know about. I can bet you now, take a walk into any lab, tell them you want to check your homocysteine level. They'll be looking at you like this. Wait till they talk. Wait till you talk, you know. So take this information, share it with people. Let's save lives. You never can tell how many lives you can save just by giving out this information. I want to thank you all for listening. God bless you. Get more information. Yes, garlic and turmeric, yes, in the dried form. You can also use fresh, use it fresh. If you get the fresh ones, you cut it up, wash very well, put in the bottle. So whether it is fresh or whether it is, of course, when it is fresh, keep it so that all the water drains out before you pour it into that jar. But never use plastic containers. Never use plastic containers. Put it in that glass bottle so that you can also, maybe every week or every 2 weeks, you go and stir it, okay? Because sometimes as you're stirring it, you find out that it is absorbing the alcohol. So you may need to top it up more, a little bit more, okay? And the longer it stays, that's the good thing about tinctures. The longer it stays, the more potent it becomes, okay? So I want to thank you all for joining. And remember, God himself made us in his image and has given us dominion. And let's stay in good health so that we can exercise the dominion that God has given to us. God bless you all. Any more questions? Any more comments? So that we can, yes, tinctures. Okay, let me write tinctures. We are still going to share the